Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yo, what's good, guys? I'm Denvr, and this is my first ever interview on BarzRusTV. I'm so obliged to be here, and I'm going to give you all an insight on what's been happening over the last 3 years. I'm going to show you all the studio, and I'm going to show you what we do every single day, 24/7, literally. This is my full-time job, and I hope you are excited for the music. My first single is being dropped this Saturday coming up, so make sure you all check it out. Thank you very much.
No matter what you say, what you do, I'm alone, I'd rather be with you. We rap like it's sad, 2005, hold up.
So then, why has it taken so long?
It's taken so long because I wanted to do it right. I feel like, especially in Britain, I feel like so many artists just make music or make a good song and then they don't even put any thought into it, and they just release it without like thinking about the production and like without paying the career out. Since I started, I knew for a fact that I quit so many other things just to do this, that I had to do it right and I had no other option. So it's taken this long, thoroughly, because I want to do it right, and I'm in this for the long run, for real.
As an up-and-coming artist, what makes your music so different?
What makes my music different? Okay. I feel like I use my vocal in such a way where it's more of an instrument. I try my best to create as different sounding music as possible. I don't want to compare to anybody else. The track that you're going to hear on Saturday it's a club oriented track. It really is. So the music that I love making doesn't necessarily sound like what you're going to hear on Saturday. However, I would class my sound as it's very ambient. I love ambient music, and I love making ambient vibes and atmosphere.
What made you want to do all this?
I was 16 years old. I went to my first concert. It was Tiger performing Hotel California at the Ritz in Manchester. I seen him on stage, and it was the first time I'd ever seen anyone on stage. I knew straight away that's what I wanted to do. It wasn't even necessarily music making that told me that's what I wanted to do, because I was an athlete at the time and I was training full time. Music's always been in my blood. Music's always been in my family. My dad's DJ'd all my life, and I've woke up like when I was at my dad's house when I was younger. I woke up nearly every morning to him DJing downstairs. So music's always been in my family, and most of my family play some sort of instrument or make music to some extent. But as soon as I went to that concert, that was the key into this whole industry and into what I knew.
You was at the top of your athletic career. Why drop that to do this?
So I just started modelling for JD at the time, and I had a race the next day actually. So when I first started making music and modelling, I was still training. I had a race the next day, and I must have been up for about 26 hours, and I was getting in and out of taxis, and I was so tired. And I called my coach, or he called me, and it was basically the last conversation we ever had. I was so tired. I had the race the next day, and I just knew full well that I wasn't going to make the race. And literally that was the last time we spoke, and it's a real sad story. And I hold it. It eats me up sometimes, but you know, life goes on. But thank you, Dom, for everything. I say that.
Who are your influences and why?
Okay, my biggest influence from my teenagehood has definitely been Drake. You know, Drake's been there since the beginning, and you know, even seeing Drake from when I first started listening to him to now is crazy. Like the distance that he's came, because I remember when he was a child, not a child, but I remember when he was a young, like he was just getting into the game, and now he's obviously one of the biggest in the game, the biggest in the game. However, I don't try to sound like anybody else. I really don't, and you know, I'm honored when people say you sound like this guy or this guy, but at the same time, you know, I don't want to sound like anybody else. I want to sound like myself, and I want to try and create my own sound, and that's what I'm trying to do. And that's another reason why it's taken so long, because I've been trying to find my own sound, and I definitely think that now we found it. Matthew, would you agree? Would you agree? You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I don't like to sound like anybody else, and I definitely don't try to sound like anybody else. But yeah.
How did you meet your team?
Okay, so first I met John. John went to the same high school as me. John, he was a few years older than me, but he, for his own personal reasons, had to take a year out of high school. Throughout that year, he was literally doing nothing apart from working online and making money through online entertainment. He met really big YouTubers. He started managing some big YouTubers, and he became like he's done some really big things online. I then started speaking to him for whatever reason, and he eventually became my manager. He took belief in what I was doing. I told him I wanted to get into music, and he said, yeah, let's do it, we'll get to where we want to be. And he took belief in me. From there, John had a birthday party, and then I met Frankie, who has been my producer for like the last 3 years. We've made so much together, and Frankie is now also my cultural development artist. He does all my videos, and he edits all my music videos, and produces my music, etc. From there on, because of John's help with Instagram promotion, etc., I met Volume. And Volume is from New Jersey, New York City, and he really, my music was terrible at the time, it was really bad. However, John and Volume obviously believed that I could get to where I wanted to be, which is where we're nearly at now. Volume has been like the biggest part, like one of the biggest parts of my career to this day. Yeah, so within a few months, Volume had already asked me to be on one of his songs. That song has been online for 3 years, and nobody knows, and nobody will find out the link to that song. I mean, the song's good, but my verse is terrible, but I genuinely did think I was like the shit. I really did think I was it. So yeah. So through Frankie, I met Matthew. He goes by the stage name Djembe, and he's been a big part of this first project I'm releasing on Saturday. We've literally started the whole thing from scratch, and he's literally monstered the beat. And all my team, they've been such a huge part of everything. Like they've helped me get to where I am today, and they've been so supportive. And I won't be here without any.
How would you describe the sound of your new track?
The sound of my new track is very club orientated with 808s, etc. However, it's in my own style. It's in my own unique style that I don't feel has been done yet. I'm not saying that it's something that no one's ever heard before, but because it's a commercial song, it's a song strictly for the club. So I'm not saying that this sounds anything like what the type of music that I make, but it's a club orientated track in my style.
Where can you see yourself in 5 to 10 years time?
In 5 to 10 years time. I'm shooting for the moon. I don't see the point in doing anything unless I'm shooting for the stars with it. I hope to be up there with the top, and I hope to have created and developed my own sound by that point. I'm literally, when I say develop my own sound, I'm talking genre. I want to create my own genre. I really do. I hope to be performing on stage in front of thousands of people, and that's been a plan since the beginning, because that's what initially inspired me. And I just want to take my whole team to the top, and I want to live on an entourage lifestyle for real. I want to have money, and I want to just have a stable life, a happy life, surrounded by good people like I am now. And
do you think that is possible in 5 years?
I think anything's possible. I really do. I feel like, especially in the music industry, you never know what can blow up and what can't. I'm not going to settle for anything less. Without trying to sound, arrogant, I quit everything else in my life to do this shit. Like, I quit. Athletics was my life. I even dropped out of college and everything just to do this full time. I do this like a full-time job. I wake up in the morning and I make music all day long. I feel like as long as I put the work in, as long as I work hard, and as long as I feel that I am doing what I love and that I'm making the music that I want to make, I feel like anything's possible. I do definitely feel like it's possible to do in 5 years or less.